All right, so the next one is a special type of inequality, and it's called a tripartite inequality. And what happens is the variable is between two numbers. So as we see here in our example, x is greater than 2, but less than 7. So we know it's in that range is where x is going to be. Now to solve these types of inequalities, what we have to do is we have to apply the properties of inequalities to all three parts, because what happens is sometimes you might have 2 is less than x plus 4 is less than our 7. And so then we have to get rid of that 4. And so we have to subtract 4 on all three parts. So then we get 2 minus 4 is a minus 2 is less than x is less than 7 minus 4 is 3. And so that's our most simplified form, was when we just have that single x there in the middle. Okay. Now, we can have interval notation with these as well. And what happens is our interval notation is going to be based on like the following here. So we have a less than x less than b. And so what we do is we're going to look at our a and b. That's going to be our 2 points here, a and b. And then this and this are going to determine what the front and back inequalities are, parentheses or brackets are. Well, that's a parenthesis because it's just less than, and that's a parenthesis because it's less than. So it's parenthesis, parenthesis. Now this one we have same, everything is the same except we have less than or equal to, less than or equal to. So now we have the equal to parts on both of them. So that means we have to have brackets on both of them. Then we could also have the option where one is a less than, one is greater than. Either way, you know, greater than or less than or equal to here, less than or equal to here, and that. And so when we have the less than, we just have a parenthesis. When we have the less than or equal to, we have the bracket. And the same works on our last one here. All right. So what we need to do now is solve the tripartite inequality, graph and write an interval notation. All right, well, here we have k plus 8 in the middle, and we want just k in this case. So we need to get rid of 8. And so we have to subtract 8 in all three parts of the tripartite. That's why it's tri means three parts of the inequality. So there's one part, two part, three part, okay? So if we want to mark off what we've canceled here in the middle, we can do that. 8 minus 11 is going to give us 3 is less than k is less than or equal to, and that's going to be 12 minus 8. It's going to give us 4. Okay. So now we actually have to put 2 points. We have a 3 and we have a 4. And again, we don't have to put all the points. We can just put our two main ones that we're worried about. And so k is going to be greater than 3. Okay, so we have open circle and it's going to be greater than. It's going that direction. But it also means k is less than or equal to 4. So we have to have that less than or equal to. So we go that way. And then we meet in the middle, and that is our solution as a graph. Okay. So we're going from 3 to 4. And again, we look at those inequalities to determine if it's open circle or closed circle. And then we can write the same thing in interval notation. So it's open circle is parenthesis 3, 4, and that's going to be a bracket. Okay. So again, nothing hard. We're just adding, subtracting. We could also do some dividing or multiplying here, depending on the tripartite inequality. But for the first simple one, that's how we would get it. All right. How about the next one? All right. So here, this is going to be a fun one. So we have this 8 minus 3m here, then less than or equal to 12, but greater than negative 4. So let's subtract 8 from all three spots. And so again, 8 minus 8, that's going to cancel, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Minus 4 minus 8 is minus 12. It's less than negative 3m. Less than or equal to 12 minus 8. That's going to be a 4. That's an m, but now we have a negative 3m here, and we want just m. So we have to divide by a negative 3. Spoiler alert, don't forget we have two inequalities that we're going to have to switch now, because when you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, you have to switch inequalities. So I always, when I first see that I've divided by a negative or multiplied by a negative, I put arrows down, and then I remember, okay, that less than becomes greater than, that less than or equal to becomes greater than or equal to. That reminds me that I've got to switch it around. Now here we have a negative divided by negative is positive, 12 divided by 3 is 4. And then we just have our m here. 4 divided by negative 3 is negative 4/3. All right. So let's graph this one. So we have somewhere here is a 4, and this is a negative, so it's a negative 4/3. So it's somewhere on the left because somewhere here in the middle is going to be a 0. Okay. So we know that m is less than 4, so it has an open circle at 4, and it's going that way. But it's greater than or equal to a negative 4/3. So it's going to be a closed circle going that way. And then all we do is we just meet them in the middle, and that would be our solution graphically. Now, in interval notation, we're going to go from a negative 4/3 up to a 4, but that's a parenthesis on that one. Okay. All right, now this one, we have a fraction. So we have to get rid of that fraction. So remember, we just multiply. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to rewrite this. I'm going to take 9 times 0 greater than or equal to 9 times x over 9 greater than or equal to 9 times negative 1. Okay. So that cancels that, and we're left with just x, which is what we need. And now we say 9 times 0, well, that's 0. Well, that's greater than or equal to, okay, x, and that's greater than or equal to, and that looks like a negative 9, okay? So how does that look on our graph? Well, that's 0, that's our negative 9. So x is less than or equal to 0, okay, so we have a closed circle here, and we're going that way. But it's x is greater than or equal to a negative 9. So we have a closed circle here, going that way. They meet in the middle, and that is our graphical representation. Now, what does it look like in interval notation? Negative 9, 0, brackets on both ends. Okay. How about this one? Well, now what we have to do is get rid of that plus 9 because we want just x. So we need to get rid of the number here. So let's add 9. So 12 minus 9, well, that's going to be a minus 3 is less than or equal to 3x. Now, again, if we need to, we can say, okay, well, that minus that is 0, so we don't have to worry about it. And that's going to be less than, so this is less than or equal to, that's less than, minus 3 plus 9, or 9 minus 3, which is 6. Okay. Now we have to divide by 3 because we just want x. And so when we divide there, that becomes 1, that becomes 1, so we just get x. But we have to do it on all parts. So we divide by 3 on all 3 places. Now, a negative 3 divided by a positive 3 is going to be a negative 1. That's less than or equal to x because that all canceled. And that's less than 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we go from negative 1 to 2. We know that's our 2 endpoints. Now, x is greater than or equal to negative 1. So that's a closed circle. And we're going that direction. But x is less than 2. And we meet in the middle. And now we write the interval notation. So closed circle gives us a bracket, negative 1, 2, and then that's an open circle, so it's a parenthesis. Okay. All right, what about the next one? Well, the next one we have plus 1 we have to get rid of. So we have to subtract 1. Okay. Now again, that cancels that, so we're good to go. We don't have to worry. Minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. Less than or equal to, now we have 3x. Less than 19 minus 1 is 18. Now we divide by 3 to get rid of that 3 there. And so when we do that, 3 goes in here once and in here once, and we just get just plain old x. Okay. But we have to do it here, and we have to do it here as well. So this looks like the same things we had up here, but started out as completely different looking problem. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, but it's a negative, less than or equal to x, less than 18 divided by 3 is 6. So this time we're going from negative 1 to positive 6. Okay. Now x is greater than or equal to a negative 1. So again, we have that closed circle here. We're going that way. And here x is less than 6, so it's an open circle. We're going that way. And they meet in the middle. And so we go from a closed circle or a bracket, -1, up to an open circle of 6. Okay. All right, so that's all I have. So hopefully that helped you.